and I'm going to share my screen so you all can see what I'm looking at as we go through this. Okay, let's see. Are you all able to see my screen now?
No, nothing is up there.
Nothing is. I don't know why this isn't working. Okay, here we go. Now you should be able to see it, correct? The assignment for chapter 2. There it
Yes.
is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's up there.
Okay. So, um let's just go through this whole thing so we can get a better understanding of what we're doing when we're costing produce. Okay, so the first question: when using frozen produce, particularly frozen fruit, it is best to let the fruit thaw completely before using it in a recipe. Um, while there are some recipes that do require you to thaw the fruit, it's not necessarily the best practice, especially when we're talking about costing, because when we thaw out fruit, we're going to have loss of weight due to water loss. All fruit that is um, flash frozen is going to retain some water through that process. So when you thaw it out, you're going to lose that weight in water, which if you've gone through this chapter, you're going to see that your what we know as the as served cost is going to be greater than our as purchased cost because of that loss and that trim that we have with not only frozen vegetables but canned vegetables and and obviously fresh vegetables. We're going to have loss of weight too because of peeling and trimming and and cutting and things of that nature. So number two says if a 25-pound bag of medium table carrots costs $10, then 1 ounce of AP carrots, as purchased carrots, would be that's 2 cents round. Well, it would actually be 3 cents if we rounded it. So, how do we determine this? So, 25-pound bag costs $10. So, 25 divided by 10, that would be 250 a pound. And then we have to look, you're going to go um, to your chart for carrots in your book, and that is on page 27, and it is one, two, three, four, five, six item down. So um, 1 ounce trimmed clean ounce weight or count is 13. So we're going to take that 0.25. Somebody have a question? Corey, 10 divided by 25 times 0.04.
I typed it wrong. How I came out with it, I put $10 divided by 25 and got 0.4. Then I took the 0.4 divided by 16 and got the 0.25.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go to the next one. The yield percent, the trim yield percent for a 25-pound bag is 81.3%. And I want y'all to take note of that. And you all may already know that, the people who are in here. This yield percent, when you get down to this chart, that yield percent is given to you in the book for whatever food item we're talking about right here. So basically, I'm going to go back up to number 3. The trim yield percent for a 25-pound bag of table carrots is 81.3%. Like I said, that value is given to you in your book on page 27. That if we're looking at medium table carrots, that would be the 5th column over, yield percent. That's given to you for all items. So it says, so a trimmed ounce cost is basically 3 cents if we round this. So to determine that trimmed ounce cost, we are taking well, first we have to determine the AP cost per ounce. Before we can ever determine the trim cost, you have to determine the as purchased cost per ounce. So as purchased is just the weight before we trim it. Does that make sense, everybody? AP cost is before we do anything to the product. The trim cost is after we prepare the item. Okay, so before we can determine that trim cost of 3 cents per ounce, is everybody following?
Yes.
Okay, so before we determine this trim cost, we have to determine the actual AP cost per ounce. So we're going to take that AP cost per ounce that we determined in that question before.
Mm-hmm.
That's 0.025. And we're going to divide that by 16. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my calculator. 0.025 divided by 16. So that gives us like 0.00156. Huh?
0015625.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, now to determine that trim cost per ounce, we take that AP cost per ounce and we divide it by the yield percent. So the yield percent in this instance is 81.3, but before we divide by that yield percent, we have to convert that to a decimal. So we're going to move that decimal place over 2 values to the left. So divided by, it would be 0.813. And that did not give me a trimmed ounce cost of 0.037.
It gave me 32.52.
3252.
0.03252.
Okay. So there's some issues with that question right there. I'm going to make a note of that. All right. All right, let me go down. I want to go down to this chart and discuss this because this is gonna tie all this together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's go through this chart and maybe this will help everybody get a better understanding of this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in this chart, like I said, this AP cost per pound right here, that value is always going to be given to you. Also, this yield percentage is given to you. The yield percentage will vary for each one of these items right here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, different produce is going to have different amount of waste. So the yield percentage will vary. So the first value we need to determine is this AP cost per ounce. And all we do to determine that AP cost per ounce is take the AP cost per pound, which is these values right here in this first column, and divide that by 16. So for example, the first one, avocados diced. They're $2.37 as purchased per pound. To determine that AP cost per ounce, we just divide by 16 because there's 16 ounces in a pound. So for that first one, we should get 0.148125.
Exactly.
Rounded, that's going to round to 0.15 or 15 cents. Did everybody get that?
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said, the yield percent, the next column over, that's given to you in your book. So if we're talking about avocados diced, this would be on page 25, about 3/4 of the way down the page. You'll see avocados half-inch dice.
Uh-huh.
And if you go over, it says yield percent for avocados half-inch dice is 78.6.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be your answer for yield percent for avocados.
Okay.
Now the next column, we want to determine this trimmed ounce cost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the formula for trimmed ounce cost is going to be the AP cost per ounce, which we just determined that right here.
The 50
Remember,
cent.
that was 0.15, 15
Mm-hmm.
cents. So we're going to take that and divide it by our yield percentage, which is this value here. Remember, we just said that's 78.6. Okay? So we're doing
Mm-hmm.
that 0.15, and it's very important that you round that AP cost before you move forward. Okay, so remember it was like 0.148 something something something. We rounded that
Mm-hmm.
to 0.15. It's very important that you round this AP cost per ounce before you move forward. Okay, so we're taking that 15 cents or 0.15. We're going to divide it by our yield percentage. So our yield percentage was 78.6. We got to convert that to a decimal first. So that would be 0.15 divided by 0.786. And you should get something like 0.190839, so on, so on, so on. So that
No,
0.19,
hold on. I got 0.1179.
okay, then we
You
need to
said
go back.
50 cents divided.
15 cents.
Yes, 1.5 divided by 0.786, right?
Yes.
Okay, now. Okay, it's 19.0.
Okay.
Sorry.
So that's going to be your trimmed ounce cost.
Okay.
Yep. Corey just typed it up in the chat box. If y'all
Mm-hmm.
pop your chat box up, I can type some stuff here too. I'll start typing these out as I go through them, okay? Okay, so our trimmed ounce cost is 0.19. So the next value we need to determine is this trimmed cup cost. So to determine that, we are going to take the trimmed weight per cup, which that value is given to you too. If you go down to avocados, it's 5.4. Does everybody see that in their book? Trim cleaned ounce weight per cup. It's the next column to the last column. You scroll down to avocados, it's 5.4. Okay? So we're going to take that trimmed weight, which I'll type this right here. I'm going to type this trimmed weight is 5.40, and we're going to multiply that by our trimmed ounce cost that we just determined, which was 0.19. Okay, so let's multiply those two. 5.40 times 0.19. So that should give you 1.026, right? Did everybody get that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to round, if we're rounding to the hundredths, which we should be doing for all these money value items, that should be $1.03 rounded.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so that 1.03 would be your trimmed cup cost. That's your next to last column right here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, trim gallon cost. I think this is where most people got confused with the trim gallon cost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so to determine the trimmed gallon cost, you're going to take that trim cup cost, which I'm going to take, okay, to determine, I'm going to type this out. Trim gallon cost multiply trimmed cup cost by 16. And why do we multiply it by 16? Because there's 16 cups in a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our trim cup cost in this particular item was $1.03. So we just multiply that by 16, and that gives us 16.48. Now we're not done yet. So there is a little paragraph. If you flip to page 22 in your book. Has everybody got their book?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
if you're looking on page 22, on the bottom left, you see this compaction factor.
Mm-hmm.
And I just put a new PowerPoint in this lesson that discusses this compaction factor. So it says when vegetable cuts are put into larger containers, such as a gallon, they will compact. So compact a little. So it's a good idea to add the calculated amount to account for this compaction. The actual amount of compaction depends on a number of factors. Large irregular cuts, such as a coarse paysanne cut, compact, less than small uniform cuts, such as quarter-inch dice, brunoise, yada, yada, yada. So in general, add 2% to a quart, 3.5% to a half gallon, and 7% to a gallon measure. So for example, in this one, we need to add 7% to this 16.48 to give us the correct trim gallon cost. Okay? So we're going to multiply 16.48. I'm going to type this out. Times 1.07. That's 7%. And I'm going to put in parentheses, this is compaction factor. Okay? So that should give us 17.6336 or 17.63 rounded. Did everybody get that? Did I
Okay.
confuse anybody right there?
Okay.
I'm making notes, so I'm following along, but I'm making notes.
This 1.07, that's just the 7% added
To the 1648.
to the 1648, yes.
Okay. So to get to the 1648, we have to multiply the $1.03
Uh-huh.
times with the
16.
GL. Okay, times 16.
Yeah, because there's 16 cups in 1 gallon.
Okay.
So we're determining, remember, we're trying to determine, you went back to the trim gallon cost. So
Okay.
to determine the trim gallon cost, we take the trim cost per cup, which in this instance was $1.03, and we just multiply it by 16, which is the number of cups in a gallon.
Okay.
So that's how we got 16.48. Then we have to account for that compaction factor, which is
With the
basically,
7%.
yeah, with the
Okay.
7%, the 7%. So that's why we multiplied 16.48 times 1.07. And that
Okay.
gave
So
us a trim gallon cost of $16 or $17.63.
okay. So let's see. Let's see if we understand this. So on the
Okay.
first column, the AP
Yes.
cost per ounce. Yeah, that's
AP
the
cost
amount
per
that they're
ounce.
gonna give us. On the AP
Well,
cost.
the The AP cost per pound is given to you.
Exactly.
You got to determine the AP cost per ounce by taking the cost per pound and divide it by 16.
By 16.
Yeah,
Then
because there's
on the
16 ounces in 1 pound.
okay, and then on the GL percent, that's come from the book.
Yes, that's given to you
On
the chart.
number 3, the 3 ounce per cost. So for that one, we divide the
You divide.
GL percent by the AP cost per ounce.
Well, you gotta. It's actually the AP cost per ounce divided by the yield percent.
Exactly.
But
Okay.
remember, when you divide by the yield percent, you have to convert that percentage
The
to a
GL
decimal.
percent to a decimal.
Yes. Yeah, you
Okay.
just
Number 4.
move it 2 places.
Oh, exactly. Okay.
N-
Number 4,
number.
the trim cup. We're gonna use the amount, the number that the book give it to us, the
Yeah,
5.40,
that's correct.
right?
Yes,
And multiply by the 19 cents on the trim
the,
ounce cost.
that's correct.
And then we got the $1.03.
That's correct.
Okay. And on the trim cup, we're gonna divide the $1, multiply the $1.03 by 16 because we have 16 cups in a gallon.
That's correct.
And then to that amount, we have to add a 7%
That's correct.
to the
So most,
$16.48.
yeah. So you just
And that's the total cost.
that's the total cost per gallon. You got it.
Okay.
Do we want to do one more?
If you want
Yes,
to.
one more. One more would be
Okay.
perfect. So I
Okay.
can know exactly what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yes, one more.
And just for a heads up, y'all, I'll reopen this assignment so you can go back and do it again because I know some people were just completely confused when they got to this chart. So, especially with that trim gallon cost, because a lot of people, it's easy to overlook that compaction factor.
Right.
But
And that's
I'll
something that I
reset.
didn't do at all.
Yeah, I don't think anybody did it at all, honestly. And honestly, this is a new book that we're using, so I haven't ever had to do these formulas with a compaction factor. But like I said, I will reset this assignment for you to start over and start fresh. Now that you've got an understanding of it. Okay, so let's do one more. We'll just do the very next one down, the broccoli. Okay, so for broccoli, our AP cost per pound is 64 cents per pound. So to determine the per ounce again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to type this out again for the people who are going to go back and watch this. $0.64 AP cost. Okay. So to determine the AP cost per ounce, that would be equal to 0.64 divided by 16. So 0.64 divided by 16, that gives us 0.04, correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's our AP cost per ounce. Now, if we go to our chart for broccoli, our yield percentage. Remember that next column is given to you. Broccoli
Mhm.
florets chopped, 62.8%. Sorry, I'm trying to type this out for everybody who's going to go back and watch. 62.8%, and that is given. Okay. So next, so we've got the AP cost per pound, the AP cost per ounce, and the yield percentage. The next is the trimmed ounce cost. So again, I'm going to type that out. Trimmed ounce cost is equal to the AP cost per ounce divided by the yield percent. And remember to convert that to a decimal before you do your math. Okay, so in this instance, that would be divided by our yield percentage we said was 62.8, so you're going to divide by 0.628.
6.8.
So that gives you 0.063,
3.
yep, which would round to just 0.06.
Mhm.
So let me type this out. AP cost per ounce was 0.04 divided by 0.628 equals. Okay. So that 0.06 is our trimmed ounce cost. Now
Yep.
to determine the trim cup cost, take the trimmed weight and
So
divide by, or sorry,
Times.
I'm going to put
310.
given
310 times 0.6, 0.06, right?
times
$3.
0.06. That's correct.
Mhm.
And that would be equal to
0.19.
the trimmed weight,
0.19.
0.19. That's
Yep.
correct.
0.19.
So I'm just going to make a note of this. The trimmed weight was 3.10, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. And we multiply that by 0.06, that gives us 0.019. Okay.
Yep, that's
Now,
right.
the last one is the trim gallon cost. So we take
Mhm.
that. Oh, I put the wrong. Sorry, it should be. Sorry, should be 0.19. Okay. So that 0.19 we multiply by 16.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. And
Multiply by 16
3.04.
cups in
Yep, 3.04.
times.
What did I do with that one?
Yeah, 3.04
Times 107. Because it's a gallon.
Oh, it's point. Yeah, 0.07.
21 cents.
Yep.
1.7.
is $3.25.
That's correct.
Wait.
Times 1.07. So again, it's 3.04 times 1.07 or 7%. And that gives us 3.2528, which rounds to $3.25.
Okay.
It's not that hard. It's just understanding,
No.
knowing what to do.
Yeah, it's knowing when to use the formulas.
Exactly.
And the
Which
book
is
goes into
Go
the
ahead.
book goes into details, but it goes a little bit into detail.
Yeah. So that's why I'm
Especially
gonna
when
keep
we do.
getting on here every week and doing this. So it's gonna be extremely difficult to go through this book and do these assignments if we don't walk through these formulas together. Which is why I'm not a huge advocate for this class being online in the future. This is the first. This is the first time we've done it online, and I don't think we're going to do it again because you need to see this stuff visually.
I do. I agree.
And I'm definitely a visual learner, and a lot of people in culinary are as well. So, in order for it to make sense to me, I have to see it written out.
Right.
So,
Okay, I have a question.
okay.
The first one about the project.
Uh-huh.
The ones that we send you by the email,
Uh-huh.
are you gonna comment about something on those ones, or just you want to see where we was?
I was just wanting to see where you were. Now, if there's something that you have a question about or you're a concern about with your project, I can definitely read over it and look at it before you submit the final document.
Okay.
But basically, the progress that you sent me was just to, you know, so I could see that you were actually working on it.
Okay. The other question. This following Sunday, the chapter 3 is gonna do. You want us to do it, and then on next Wednesday we can go over if we did something wrong, and then we redo it.
You know, at this point, I would not be so much concerned with these due dates.
Okay.
What I'm gonna do is next week I'm gonna try to cover 2 chapters,
Okay.
so we kind of
Excellent.
get back on track and
Mhm.
we're a chapter of ahead. But I'm gonna remove the due date from chapter 3
Mhm. Until
and
we
from
cover with you.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So if you want to go ahead and work through it, and like
Mhm.
you said, write down any questions that you may have as you go through it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the same thing with chapter 3, and next week I'm gonna cover chapter 3 and 4. That way we can kind of get back on track with our schedule. But like I said, this is new to online, and I know the majority of people have had questions or hiccups as they're doing these assignments. So I want to explain it before I give you the grade for it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
because I don't want you to take the quiz and then you do poorly on it and then I explain it to you and it makes sense. That's not fair to you for your grade. So
Yeah, it's
um
very frustrating.
yeah, so I want to remove that frustration for everybody.
Oh gosh, thank you.
And
Because we spent like hours together, us
Thank
three,
you.
I
doing
know,
it.
and I appreciate y'all's effort, um, and definitely um, logging on for the lesson, so we can get some comprehension together.
Mhm.
Oh,
So
And
next week, like I said, we'll plan on doing 2 chapters,
mhm.
and in the meantime, I'm gonna remove the due dates off of chapter 3. So,
okay, good.
like I said, you can go ahead and work on it, and if you have questions, um, just write them down, and we'll discuss those next week when we do our lesson online.
Okay, and we're gonna do this every Wednesday, same time?
I believe so. Yes, this is a good time for me because I don't. On Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm in the kitchen all day.
Mhm.
Wednesday morning is a good time because I kind of get a little bit of a break.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, we're in the kitchen on Mondays and Tuesdays too.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, I will reset um, chapter 2
Mhm.
if you want to
Mm-hmm.
retake it. If not, I understand. You can just go with the grade you have in there. But
Oh
I'm
no,
gonna.
we're going to retake
Yep, definitely retake.
Okay. I'll reset it for you guys and go ahead and redo the chapter 2 and work on chapter 3 and write down any questions you have, and we'll discuss that and chapter 4 next week. Like I said, to get us back on track.
Okay,
Okay, good.
the last question. The
Yes, ma'am.
the question number 3 on this assignment.
Uh-huh.
Do you want us to leave us as false or put it through? Through.
Let's look
Oh,
at this
that's
again.
right.
The trim yield percentage for a 25-pound bag of table carrots is
Where is
81.3.
that one? Ah, here it is.
Okay. So carrots. Medium table carrots. It only gives us a count of 13.
13.
Yeah, I'm looking on page 27 for
Uh-huh.
table carrots medium.
Oh, yes.
Number
Okay.
6.
Yeah. So it gives us the AP unit is pounds. The
Mm-hmm.
number of measures per AP unit is 16. A measure is ounces. So trim clean ounce would be 13 ounces.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
And we have 25
remember,
pounds.
the trimmed ounce cost is the AP cost per ounce.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give us that.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
See what I'm saying?
Actually, what I did for number 3 was I used the answer for number 2, the
Yeah, that's correct.
point, and I
Point
divided
zero
that by the
yield.
0.813 as being the total, yeah, the yield percent.
Okay. And what did that
And
give
then
you?
it gave me the 0.03, wait, 0.030750, which
Mm-hmm.
is the same answer as that, but if you round it up with the 5, it would actually be
Let's
0.
31.
Yeah, yes, because then it would be in the book. If you were to do it, it would be 3.1 cents, which is the other way would be 0.0308 because of the 5.
Yeah.
And that's the reason we marked it as false.
Okay. I see what you're saying. It would be if you rounded it from the 5, it would be 0.0308.
Correct,
Yes.
correct.
Okay.
But
So
here
I'll
they
tell you what.
um,
I don't like that question. it's
Nope,
it,
nope, it's tricky.
yeah,
But
it
if you
is tricky.
follow the rules, it's
Yeah.
false.
Yeah,
mhm.
you're correct. You're right
So
about that. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to give everybody credit for that one, whether you put true or false,
Okay.
because I don't like that question.
Nope.
It
Don't
is, I
even-
see how it is confusing if you're rounding. It really
Yes,
should be,
exactly. And we're supposed to round, so it should be
Yeah.
false.
it should,
Mhm.
the question should read a trimmed ounce cost of 0.03. That would make more
Exactly.
sense.
Yes, exactly.
That way, if you round it either way, it's still 0.03.
Mhm.
Exactly. Like they did
So
in the book.
Maybe I'll just edit this question to say 0.03.
Oh, there you go. Even better.
But either way, I'm gonna give you credit either way on that one, because
Okay.
I see where the confusion comes in now.
Hmm.
Okay, was there any one of these other ones
Nope.
No.
that you
No,
wanted
it was
to?
just that.
Okay, all right.
The rest of it we understood.
Okay, good. All right, so we'll plan on doing this again next week, same time, and we'll cover 2 chapters next week, 3 and 4.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank
Sounds
you.
wonderful. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Y'all
Chef.
have a
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, y'all too. Y'all have a good afternoon as well.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.